Jimmy Certain can get off flying again. 6 strikes in a row in the first game, 7 in the second game.
What'd you say, Bud? He fell off a little bit the last game from
Yeah.
268 down to 267.
That's right, half. That's right. I think it's 110. And that's the first time he hasn't come flying out of the gate. And the winner of this tournament qualifies for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Other great tournaments coming up are the Ebonite Gold Cup and the Miller Open. And next week, it's the $75,000 Cougar Open from Kansas City. Now here is Dave Soutar. He has 3 wins. Averaged 210 last year, 6th among the PBA bowlers.
Dave's been red hot too, Bud. He made the finals last week in San Jose, the 16-man finals. He got out of the gate here with a 300 game in the first round and a 14:01 opening round block. So he's really been red hot.
We asked Dave Soutar what he specifically concentrates on before he steps to the line.
When I'm at the line, I concentrate on my spot. Also, I concentrate on keeping my feet at a nice even pace, because as the game goes on, I seem to walk a little faster and throw the ball a little harder. So I have to keep it at an even pace.
He's very pleased with his shot. You can see a little light in the pocket and getting them off the wall for the double.
Jimmy Certain, second frame. And Jimmy, for the first time this afternoon, trails by 10 pins. And if he wins here today, it'll be his first win on the tour.
And he wants to win very badly, because then he would be eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. That's a must. You must win a tournament on the tour. That's a speed factor, Bud, the soft 10, but he didn't hook it big that time. He went a little more direct into the pocket, but he had great speed, so he didn't get the full carry. The ball deflected a little bit as it went into the 1-3 pocket.
Denver Open, live and in color.
He really wings it on those spares on the right, not giving it a chance to hook, cutting down that margin for missing.
Now it's Dave Soutar, who bowled a perfect game here, leading, as you can see, by 10. Last week in San Jose, he bowled a 288 game, so he is really hot.
Great hitting power. The 6 came off the wall and kicked that 10 out with authority. And a little sidelight, Bud, our statistician today, Norm Myers, drilled the bowling ball for Dave Soutar last week that he is using all the way through the tournament last week and all the way through the tournament this week. He's pretty pleased with Norm.
Should be.
But there's an adjustment factor. He came light into the pocket on the left-hand lane. That time he adjusted his target area 1 board left, and with the good lift that he got, it carried him a little bit too high into the pocket.
And Dave leads by 18 now.
There you see, Dave Soutar spoke about the spot. He's leading by 18 pins, and but it's paying off for him in concentrating on that spot.
Well, so far it is. He's facing Jimmy Certain, who reeled off a fantastic first game, 268 to knock off Earl Johnson, 267 to beat Don Johnson. Earl Johnson, finishing 5th, picks up a check for $1,600, and Don Johnson, for finishing 4th, picks up $1,800. Of course, they're fighting for first place money of $6,000. And this is live. crowd really enthusiastic here in Denver. Big crowds all the time. You know, Denver is the mile-high capital, gateway to ski country USA. Such outstanding resorts as Vail, Colorado, Aspen, Arapahoe, Loveland, Snowmass. What do you call that?
That's tripped that little forward.
And now that reduces Mr. Sutar's lead to 8 pins now. Dave coming up in the 5th, working on a spare. Very deliberate. Notice how he holds that hand down.
Right. And at that point, he is concentrating on his spot. Beautiful carry. But in referring to Dave Soutar looking at his spot, most all of the bowlers are spot bowlers. Now, some may look at the arrows, some may look at the dots, some may spot as far down as the pins. The fact that they are looking at a target area means spot bowling.
What happened there?
Well, he's using speed to keep the line, and he got a little too much speed, and the 6 pin went over the 10. Very powerful ball that time.
And the bowler behind Dave Soutar is the alternate there, Tom Tuttle, sitting beside the man with the glasses, who is Joe Richards. There's that arm motion we were talking about.
Quite a few of the bowlers have remained this week, Bud, as we don't have too far to go over to Kansas City. Gene Rodas here, Don Glover, Kurt Schmidt, Ronnie Winger. Quite a gallery.
Don Carter wasn't here this week, but he'll certainly be at the Cougar Open in Kansas City next week. Sure he's watching them.
It's a big strike for...
What are his chances here?
Well, Bud, I'd like to talk a little bit about it. He was over-anxious on that shot. This is a normal thing that would happen. In his anxiety, he pulled that shot and went into the nose, as we call it, too much of the head pin. Got a tough break and not breaking it up. Now he's got to move to the left and try and just barely touch that 6 pin on the right-hand side, sliding it over. He'll use good speed and wing it. It's going too much to the right.
That's a tough break for Jimmy Certain. You can see it. He looks a bit discouraged, shaking his head. And he trails by about 20. He trails exactly by 24 pins now.
This is a must situation. When you make a bad shot like that, you want to really come back with a good ball.
And he does.
The mark of a champion. He's a future champion. If he doesn't win today, he's got to win sometime. And there, as you look at the score, Bud, you can see the value of keeping those frames clean. Loses 4 pins back on the count and going for the spare. And then, of course, you lose 11 pins when you don't fill the frame.
That was late coming in.
But they've got an awful nice break on the 8-pin falling, because the 8-pin is exactly or directly behind the 2. It takes a great shot to cover the 2-8. Here he can hit to the left or right lightly and still make the spare. But the 2-8, you have to hit it head on.
Dave Soutar here, as you can see, leads by 23, as we mentioned. And he's in that beautiful orange shirt if you're watching in color, and this is also live. He bowled a perfect game here earlier this week, and he bowled 288 last week. Now here's the footwork of Dave Soutar.
Very slow, very smooth, well coordinated. Gets a good lock, good deep end, good leverage.
And he increases his lead over Jimmy Certain. You know, a comfortable way to spend a winter afternoon is watching live competition amongst the finest bowlers in professional bowling. Live and in color, it's the Denver Open. You can see Dave Soutar leading Jimmy Certain by 23 pins. Jimmy Certain won the first 2 matches, defeating Earl Johnson in the first match and Don Johnson in the second, bowling games of 268 and 267. But he's having his problems here against Dave Soutar. Here's a young fella from Huntsville, Alabama. He's 27 years old.
After all those strikes he had, he would really like to have one of them right here.
And he has it right there.
He was very pleased. Whenever he draws his fists clenched in close to his chest like that, that means, I'm very happy about that shot.
And as he's bowling here in the ninth, that reduces Dave Soutar's lead over Jimmy Certain here to 13 pins.
Good reach, Bud.
Oh! That's the one that's giving him problems in the first two. He left that 10, got it then.
Well, that extra reach gave him that little extra roll, and you saw the 6 came off the wall to give it a little love tap. Made it 3 in a row, and he's now definitely in the match. He only trails by 3.
Dave Soutar now in the ninth. Perfect ball, I'd say.
He quickly now increases it back to 13. But you can see the value of putting those strikes together. Anytime you put 2 together, the accumulative score increases by 10.
I think it's good you give us those tips there because people are just getting interested in bowling, like to know how to score, Billy. Close up, the grip that Dave Soutar takes. That low starting position.
And he got a little trip for it too, Bud, and it sets him up into a position where he could close out the match now. That puts him into the 230s. The count on this ball would determine whether he could close it out or not. He does not need a strike on this ball to close out Jimmy Certain. He needs an 8-pin count and a spare, or if he gets 9, he can miss it and still close out Jimmy Certain. There it is.
That does it. Dave Soutar is the winner. Very disappointing for Jimmy Certain, who was looking for his first win on the PBA Tour, bowling 2 tremendous games of 268 and 267 to beat Earl Johnson and Don Johnson. But here's our winner, and he will face George McDonald for first place. It's Dave Soutar. And he bowls 247.
A very powerful 247. Ball had a lot of hitting power, like Jimmy had in those big strings he had going earlier.
There's our winner. All on Wide World of Sports, coming up right after the bowling on most of these stations.
Jimmy's best possible score now is 212.
There's George McDonald, who will be facing Dave Soutar in the finals with the glasses on the left-hand side of your picture. And it's a 2-11 game for Jimmy Certain. Dave Soutar, the winner, bowling 247.